higher the tariff, the more likely it is to have them come into the country.
The higher the tariff, the more you're going to put on the value of that piece, those goods, the higher people are going to have to pay in shops.
Ready? The higher the tariff, the more likely it is that the company will come into the United States and build a factory in the United States so it doesn't have to pay the tariff. In fact, I'll tell you, there's another theory is that the tariff, you make it so high, so horrible, so obnoxious that they'll come right away. But really, so there's two ways of looking at a tariff. You can do it as a money-making instrument, or you can do it as something to get the companies. Now, if you want the companies to come in, the tariff has to be a lot higher than 10%, because 10% is not enough. Guys, they're not going to do it for 10. But you make a 50% tariff, they're going to come in.
Another letter has been posted on True Social. The president writing to the leader of Brazil, saying that he's imposing a 50% tariff on all imports coming in from Brazil as soon as August 1st, unless the country strikes some sort of a deal before then.
Se não tiver negociação, a lei da reciprocidade será colocada em prática. Se ele vai cobrar 50 de nós vamos cobrar 50 dele.
What the fuck? What the fuck? $17.49 for one can of coffee in America. This used to be $11.99 a month and a half ago. Yeah. Are we gonna go uncaffeinated in America? Because of what the fuck? What the fuck? $17.49 for one.
$17.33. That's how much I paid today for this coffee. I'm here and I'm just adding some numbers together and doing my budget because you know what? Today I asked my husband, where's the money? We're making the best we've ever made. Both earners, both incomes, good incomes and everything. And we don't have money. We're living paycheck to paycheck basically. So I put the numbers together and I decided to look at my budget. On June the 2nd, 2023, and I'm going to try to insert somewhere here the photo I took a shot of, how much I paid for it. On June the 2nd, 2023, the same exact coffee was $9.92. It's almost doubled in 2 years. Of course, my salary hasn't doubled. My income has not doubled. It went up a little bit, but certainly nowhere near that. And I don't know where my money goes. Every month, I'm struggling.
Coffee, the lifeline of America, the thing millions of people can't function without every single morning. For a country that runs on caffeine, you would think nothing could come between Americans and their morning cup of joe, right? Wrong. Because thanks to Trump's tariff on Brazil, the world's biggest coffee exporter, that beloved daily ritual is suddenly costing a lot more.
Prices for bags of coffee or cups of coffee like this could be going up. Owner of Neptune's Fury Coffee Company, Jason Walker, says it's not just the price of coffee that's going up.
As far as labor, packaging, all of that is also going up because a lot of packaging materials, cups, things like that are all coming from China or other tariff nations. So we're getting hit from all sides. We called one of our importers. We placed a 5,000-pound order for Brazilian coffee last week, our biggest order yet. And just to try to stave off some of this price increase that's going to start floating through.
Walker says prices right now are reasonable, but adds over the last 2 years, the price of coffee has doubled. It's pushed his business to raise their prices for the first time in 3 years.
The tariff must have really hit the coffee industry because I'm telling you right now, the prices that I'm seeing right here in my grocery store is absolutely insane. Check this out. So you mean to tell me that now Starbucks is $15.29? I could swear I only paid like $10 or $11 or even less. But it's not only that, it's all these other coffees that were originally before $8.99. This one is $7.99. The Dunkin' Donuts, that's the sale. Ugh, do not like Dunkin'. But everything else, $17, $14. The price has definitely gone up for all the coffees.
Yep. People are actually out here saying their local coffee shop feels more expensive than a steak dinner. And guess what? They are not exaggerating. Here's what happened. Trump decided to slap tariffs on Brazil, aiming to look tough on trade. But guess what Brazil happens to be? The king of coffee, the absolute giant. If coffee had an OPEC, Brazil would be running the cartel. So when you tax Brazilian imports, you are not just sending a message to politicians, you are sending one straight to the Starbucks line at 7 a.m. And for Americans, that's war.
The coffee price in New York are so insane. Why is an iced latte $8.25?
No, so I just want to know, who was the one that decided coffees were going to be $8? Am I going to lie to you and say that I don't pay it? Yeah, I pay it, okay? But today I had to go to Dunkin' because I was like, I can't afford this. This was $3. This is a medium, but this feels like a large at any other coffee shop. Is it as good? No. Does it get caffeine in me? Yeah. Does it make me have to poop 30 minutes later? Yeah. I remember when my Starbucks order was like $4.50. Now it's $7.89 or some shit.
So I live in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and it's very expensive here, I know, but coffee has gotten out of hand. I used to pay about $4 or $5 for coffee here, anywhere like Butler, Oslo, Hungry Ghost, and I used to think that was expensive. But now a basic cup of coffee is like $6 for a basic cup of coffee. I sometimes add like a thing of hazelnut or make it iced. It easily comes out to about $7 or $8 without tip. The other day I got an iced decaf hazelnut latte with oat milk. Each one of those variations was 75 cents more. The total was like $9. After tax, it was almost 10. I tipped $1. Came out to like $11.50. It's getting out of hand. I don't know when we started accepting paying $12 for a cup of coffee, but I'm over it.
$9 for a coffee, that's not a caffeine fix. That's a car payment. At this point, some people are about to start roasting their backyard plants and calling it a latte. And here's the wild part. America isn't just caffeine friendly, it's caffeine dependent. Millions literally need their cup of coffee just to function at work. Take that away or jack up the price, you are not just hurting wallets, you are messing with productivity, mood swings, office vibes, even relationships. Forget the stock market. This is what could collapse America. By the way, if you're loving this video and you want to support the channel, you can do that by clicking the link in my description and fittingly buying me a coffee. Trust me, with these prices, I need all the help I can get.
The US is a real coffee-led economy. And so there's some statistic which says that for every dollar invested in coffee, you get $43 in the wider economy. So when you damage the coffee industry, it has this huge knock-on effect. And there's hundreds of thousands of jobs in the US depending on coffee. So the tariffs could actually have some quite major impact. So US coffee has been increasing over the past year or so. Part of that is due to tariffs that have been put on Brazil of 10%. Part of it because Brazil has been having all sorts of crazy weather. So they've had frost, they've had droughts, they've had good weather, they've had bad weather. But overall, it's bad news for the coffee producing regions of the world because they've really been struggling because of climate change. And this is then pushing up coffee prices. Now, the big problem for coffee in the US is that 1/3 of it comes from Brazil. So 30% of the world's supply comes from Brazil. And the US is the biggest buyer of coffee in the world. Because they've put a 50% tariff on that, that cost is going to pass straight through. That means that anybody in the US who is buying coffee, so if you're Starbucks, if you're Walmart, etc., and you've got your coffee in store and you're selling it, when those stores run out, you're going to have to increase your prices because you cannot have a 50% increase in your coffee prices without passing it on. Starbucks, etc., they can't say, you know what, I'm going to buy it from Vietnam, Colombia, etc., because they simply don't have the capacity to supply it. So that means that cost is going to be passed straight on to the American people.
Trump's Liberation Day tariffs have now hit raw coffee beans, a product previously exempt due to high demand and the fact that the U.S. can't grow much of it. Coffee needs tropical altitudes found mostly near the equator to grow, so over 99% of what Americans drink is imported, primarily from Brazil, which supplies 30% of U.S. coffee. The U.S. is the largest consumer of coffee in the world, with 66% of Americans drinking it daily, and the industry supporting 1.7 million jobs. In April, Trump imposed a 10% tariff on nearly all imported coffee. But last week, Brazil was hit with a 50% tariff, reportedly for political reasons tied to the country prosecuting Trump ally and former President Jair Bolsonaro. These tariffs squeeze small and mid-sized roasters who pay the duties when beans arrive. Many will pass these costs off to consumers, with some cafes already raising prices 50 cents to $1 per cup. Because the U.S. can't grow much coffee, the policy raises prices without creating jobs.
And let's be clear, Brazil isn't the only coffee supplier in the world, but when you target the biggest player, the ripple effect is massive. Prices rise globally, and smaller coffee producing countries become more expensive too, because demand shifts.
Hey, you want to see something cool? I have the Walmart app, so I can go back and see how much my stuff used to cost me. 1 year ago, this Maxwell house cost me $10.48. Note that it is 38.2 ounces. You want to guess how much it is today? Just guess. I dare ya. There you go. The same Maxwell House original roast, 38.2 ounces. But now it's $23.44. Are we great yet? Are we great yet? Are we great yet? Are we great yet?
So Americans are waking up to two choices. Pay through the nose for their beloved brew, or try life without coffee, which, let's be honest, is not happening.
Do not talk to me until I have had my coffee.
Until I've had my coffee. Do not talk to me.
Exactly. Imagine telling that person, sorry, coffee is now a luxury item. That's a crime against humanity right there. Here's the irony. The same politician who promised to make life better for Americans ended up making their mornings harder and angrier. And let's be real, an American without affordable coffee is an American on edge. Forget foreign policy. Forget inflation numbers. This could be the thing that tips the scale. So what do you think? Will coffee prices finally push Americans over the edge? Are people going to riot at Starbucks, or will they just keep paying, no matter how high it goes? Drop your thoughts below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. And don't forget, if you want to support this channel, hit that link and buy me a coffee. Until next time, stay caffeinated, if you can afford it. So YouTube thinks you like this video over here. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Over.